with the success of SPIRE and SPIRE US, is Nicola looking at setting up their own portfolio, or are they looking at getting into alternative energy resources or investments in light of what's going on in the Middle East and Africa? Is there any other plans other than SPIRE, or are you just going to?
Okay. Yeah, Dave. Okay, fair question. So we did Maxim 2 years ago, and they focused on small public company debt and reorganizations, and they've done pretty well over the last 2.5 years. We have another limited partnership focusing on digital media with VanEdge, and again, they're just really starting to ramp up. So we're quite open to looking at these things. Last year, we feel strongly from an energy perspective that one of the most underpriced and undervalued assets, and it may stay that way for a little while longer, is natural gas. And we made an investment in a group called Caledonian that focuses on buying existing royalty properties in the natural gas space, not just here in North America, but also in different locations around the world. So we're going to continue to look for those kinds of additional or other types of investments, still trying to maintain the focus on cash flow. We are just currently doing some research now, and it's not finished yet, to see whether it makes sense for us to get involved in a mezzanine financing pool for private companies. And we think that there may be some merit to that, but there's a fair bit of research that we want to do before we decide that that's an area that we should be creating as a pool. But we're certainly going to keep looking and make commitments to something when it makes sense. Yeah, we're not just going to leave it at what we're looking at with SPIRE and SPIRE US.
If I can just also add on to that, last October we launched our NWM Alternative Strategies Fund. It has at the moment 3 sub-managers in it. One's based out of London, England, called Winton Capital, a very successful manager in what's called a commodity trading advisor, or they trade in commodities and futures. Very, very successful track record through that flat market over the past decade. Another advisor is called QIM. They're based out of the US. They're also a commodity trading advisor, and an upstart hedge fund based out of Toronto that most people have not heard of. And they've had a very successful start right out of the gate. So there's an example of another alternative strategy style investment.
SPIRE US is a better example of more likely the kinds of things we're going to do. We may decide that being in a particular investment space makes sense. In this case, we strategically made a decision that having some capital deployed in certain kinds of real estate markets in the U.S. made sense. But having said that, there's no way that we could bring the kind of serious due diligence and expertise to that marketplace. So we wanted to search for a good joint venture partner, which took quite a long time. But at the end of the day, we found one in a company called Venterra, and we're very happy with that working relationship. We did the same approach with Maxim. We did the same approach with VanEdge, and we are doing the same approach with the alternative strategies. We're looking for really good managers in certain spaces. So it isn't likely that we ourselves are going to say we're now good judges of private equity. But on the other hand, we know that some of the most successful pension firms and institutions in the world have very good returns from being in this space. So the key for us is to say that's a good asset to be in. Now let's find a good manager to work with on behalf of our clients and try to make it as cost effective as we can. And that's essentially the model that we've followed up until now.